The Realme X is the company's first true flagship and it's also the first phone in India in this new series. It's said to be a step up from the Pro models such as Realme 3 Pro and is designed to offer flagship level features but at a very affordable price. Now, while the phone doesn't have a true flagship level processor, it does manage to balance this out by offering features such as a notch-free design, a pop-up selfie camera, an in-display fingerprint sensor, and plenty of RAM and storage, all at a very affordable price. But has Realme managed to successfully pull this off? Let's find out. Now before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you're the first to know when we have a new video. The phone scores well in terms of design, and apart from the striking looks, it even feels pretty premium. The off-white finish on the polar white version that we have complements the chrome-plated sides pretty well. The phone is a little thick, but it doesn't feel too heavy even at 191 grams. However, there's no getting around the fact that it is quite a handful, and even with large hands, you will find one-handed use a bit tricky. In the front, we have a pretty large 6.53-inch Full HD Plus OLED display with Gorilla Glass 5. The bezels around the display are pretty slim except for the slightly thicker chin at the bottom, and the lack of a notch or hole punch means there's no interruption when viewing your content. Colors are vivid and punchy, the brightness gets satisfyingly high, which makes it easy to view content under any light. The design does remind us a lot of the OnePlus 7 Pro, and in fact, a lot of people even mistook this for it, which is kind of a compliment. The Realme X has an in-display optical fingerprint sensor from Goodix, which is fast at authenticating your finger, and we had a good success rate during our usage period. You also get 5 different animations to choose from. There is Face Unlock too, which works very well even in low light. The pop-up camera also has a fall-triggered safety mechanism which automatically retracts the camera when the phone is in free fall. The shiny back of the Realme X looks like glass, but it's actually a polycarbonate layer. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to pick up scuff marks very easily, and smudges aren't easily visible on this white color. It's nice to finally see Realme adopting the newer USB port instead of the micro USB one. Now the SIM tray is on the side, which only accepts 2 nano SIM cards as there's no space for expandable storage. However, this shouldn't be a huge issue as the models sold in India will come with 128GB of internal storage as standard. The Realme X is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 710 SoC, which is a powerful SoC for gaming and is also more power efficient than a 675 thanks to the smaller fabrication. In India, the Realme X is available in 2 RAM variants, 4GB and 8GB, both of which have 128GB of storage. The type of RAM used is LPDDR4X and the storage is the UFS 2.1 type. The software is also fairly up to date with the X running ColorOS 6, which is based on Android 9 Pie, along with the June Android security patch. Thanks to the OLED display, you can also have an always-on clock displayed on the lock screen. However, it's limited to just showing you the time, date, battery percentage, and missed calls and SMSs. However, alerts from any other apps aren't displayed. There are plenty of pre-installed apps both from Realme and third-party vendors. Some like NewsPoint are notorious for spamming your notification drawer with alerts, but this can be uninstalled pretty easily. Realme's App Market is also another app which does this, but you can reduce the amount of notifications by disabling alerts from within the app. There's a theme store for customizing the look of wallpapers and icons, commuting aids such as driving mode and riding mode which silences notifications, and some motion and gesture shortcuts. Now the Realme X is quite a big phone, however it's not very wide, so getting a comfortable grip isn't an issue. However, it is quite tall, so reaching the top with one hand is virtually impossible. You can enable a one-handed mode which does help using this with one hand. We didn't find it to be too slippery, but in case you do, the bundle case should provide additional grip. The phone also runs pretty cool and doesn't heat up too much when performing CPU-intensive tasks such as gaming. The SoC delivers good gaming performance as heavy titles such as PUBG Mobile defaults to the high graphics preset. We also found gameplay to be smooth without any stutter even in intense battles. Other titles such as Asphalt 9 Legends also run smoothly with no visible frame drops. The Realme X is also very good for media playback thanks to the Dolby Atmos support. This is on by default for the bottom speaker and cannot be turned off. You can switch between different sound modes or leave it at the smart setting, which will automatically pick up the best effect for the type of content being consumed. Even though there's only a single audio channel, it doesn't sound one-sided. The volume also gets loud and the quality is very good. While the fingerprint sensor is quick at authentication, the Face Unlock is also equally fast. You can engage this in 2 ways, either pressing the power button to wake the screen and pop up the camera, or swiping up on the lock screen to use it. In pitch darkness, the screen lights up for a brief moment, which is enough for the camera to authenticate you. The Realme X uses a Sony IMX586 48 megapixel rear camera sensor and a second 5 megapixel depth sensor. The main sensor has an aperture of f1.7 with pretty quick focus and a 4-in-1 pixel binning method which saves a 12 megapixel photo. With landscapes shot under good light, the main camera does a good job with colors and detail. Distant objects have good definition and the overall image has good sharpness. The area on the extreme sides of the frame does have a bit of noise, but it's not very noticeable unless you really zoom in all the way. The phone does a good job with HDR and dynamic range is good too. Close-up shots are also handled very well. The color tone is slightly warm, but colors and details are well reproduced. Even close-ups shot indoors under artificial lighting pack in good amount of detail without a lot of noise. The second sensor helps mapping the edges, objects and people fairly accurately, which results in good looking portrait shots. The background blur isn't adjustable, but it does look natural. Low light performance is good too. Photos lose a bit of their sharpness and there is some visible noise in darker regions, but it's not very severe. In some shots, we were able to get some pretty clean landscapes with little to no visible noise even in the dark regions. You can squeeze out more details and better sharpness by using the phone's nightscape mode. Here, the phone takes a few seconds longer to capture the image, but the end result is a brighter image with better detail. The phone also has a 16 megapixel front camera which also does pixel binning for better details when using bokeh mode. Selfies generally look pleasing with good colors, sufficient detail and the AI isn't too aggressive in beautifying your skin. Even in low light, selfies have a good brightness and colors. You can add a bokeh effect for selfies which looks a little artificial, but the edge detection is good. The Realme X can shoot up to 4K resolution videos, but there's no image stabilization here. If you aren't moving about too much, then it's usable as the image quality is quite good. Even in low light, there's not a lot of visible noise and colors and details are preserved well. At 1080p resolution, the phone automatically stabilizes video footage, which works well, and there isn't a lot of distortion when shooting in low light either. There are some slow motion modes to play with too, including a 960fps mode. The latter saves short clips, but the slowed down footage is a little choppy. Even with heavy use of the camera, the Realme X is still able to deliver a solid day-long battery life. The 3765 mAh battery lasted for 14 hours and 28 minutes in our loop test, which is a good sign. When using it regularly with a mix of video streaming, camera, gaming and social apps, we easily managed to push past a day on one charge. You also get support for Whoop 3.0 fast charging, which manages to charge the phone from 0 to around 93% in an hour. The Realme X is the company's attempt at building an affordable flagship, and for a first try, we'd say it's done a pretty good job. Other than the lack of expandable storage, which technically isn't really a big issue considering you get 128GB of onboard storage, it's hard to find any major fault with it. It's built well, looks good, has a big and vivid display, good software and a capable set of cameras. Realme has also added a Type-C port this time, which is something we've been wanting for a long time. Now, if we were to knock points off, then we'd say the tall design might not suit everyone, especially if you have smaller hands, and we would have liked stabilization at 4K too. However, if this big size doesn't bother you, then the Realme X actually offers pretty good features and equally good performance at a stellar price. So thanks for watching our review, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.